Hey guys, welcome back to another video with InfoSec Pat. This is video 5. What we're going to be doing is installing a child domain in our current InfoSec Pat.local environment. So if you're ready for the video, let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back. So, like I said, this is video 5 of this mini video series of Windows Server 2019. And this video, what we're going to be doing is how to install a child domain. So this is the 5th video. So in this video, we have a few servers as of right now, right? We have our, let's go to the next slide. We have our primary domain controller. We have our secondary domain controller. We installed a third domain controller, a read-only domain controller, and in this video, what we're gonna have is these 4 machines that we're gonna be focusing on is the child domain controller CDC01. So child domain controller 01, and I installed a Windows 10 client so we can join this machine to the child domain. See here, the domain here is infosec.local, infosec.local for DC02, but for the child domain controller, it's going to be nyc.infosecpat.local, and the Windows 10 machine is going to be joining to the NYC domain. All right, and in this section, what we're going to do is add the user to this domain, nyc.local. We're going to add user 1, and we're going to log into user 1 on that Windows 10 machine and test to make sure it's working. All right, so let's go back up a few and let's minimize this. Let's go to my virtual environment. So we have our DC01. All right, let's just start these services because I'm just ADD with that. So now everything, if we go back to the dashboard, everything should be green. Let's go into DC02. Let's log into here just to make sure everything is running. Test everything before we get started. This is our RODC. We don't really have to touch anything with this machine. I don't even know. I just left it on probably from yesterday's video. We have a Windows 10 here. As we can see here, who am I? We are logged in locally to the machine. So if we type in hostname, we can see Win10 client 01 is the host name, and this is we're logged in as admin. And this is going to be the new server that we're going to make our child domain. All right, so let's log into here and start configuring this baby. All right. So we'll log into the child domain. So the way I've done this up until here, what I did, I don't know if I mentioned this in other videos or not, but I want to show you really quick if you guys are using VMware Workstation, just for a little shortcut. So what I did, I made a 2019 base image. Like when I was done with the first video, I made a base image of this machine, and then I just clone it. And when I'm done cloning it, I'll just rename it, and that's it. And I'll just deploy it. All right, cool. So let's exit out of here. I just wanted to show you that so you can see how I really do it. Let's just start the service. Come on. All right. Right click, start service. Boom, 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 boom. Let's refresh this. We should be golden in a second. Boom, boom, boom. Start service. All right, so this is a little longer than expected, but that's fine. There it goes, it's green. So let's go to local server. As we see here, we have, it's a brand new machine. I want to open up this PowerPoint presentation. Where is it? It's right here. And I want to move it to my other screen just so I can remember IP addresses because my memory is shot. All right, and computer names and all that stuff. So the first things first, let's go ahead and turn off the IE enhanced security. We'll turn this off. When it comes up, we'll turn it off here. We'll turn it off for all the users just so to alleviate one pain in the butt. All right, so we'll go to IP address settings. We'll go here, we'll go to details. See, we're pulling not the right IP, we're pulling the DHCP from our DHCP server. And let's disable IPv6 because we don't need that right now. And 192.168.50.204. 192.168.50.1. And then the preferred DNS server is going to be 192.168.50.201 because that's the primary. And secondary is 50.202. That's theirs. And we should be good. Let's go to advanced DNS. And we can also add this server, 192.168.50.204. Make sure that's all good. Okay, add one more. I'll just add Google just to get out to the internet, the fancy intranet. Internet. All right, cool. So let's make sure that works. And let's make sure we can get back to the internet. There we go. We're good to go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So now what we're going to do really quick, we're going to change the computer name. Come on, we can do it. You can do it. All right, so now we can hit change here. And what we're going to name this one is Win2K19-Child Domain Controller, right? CDC01, okay? And then we can hit OK, and we'll reboot, and then we'll join it to the domain. All right, so let's reboot that now. Make sure it reboots. Let's make sure everything else is running good. We can actually turn this server off. You know what? I'm going to turn this server off just because we don't need this server right now. And I don't want to utilize the resources on my machines when I don't really necessarily need that. So let's shut that down for now. Okay. Let that shut down. Once that's shut down, we will X out of it. So, All right, so there we go. Now let's X out of here. And let's go back to our child domain. Control delete. Let's log into it. And we'll join it to the domain. Come on. Local server, and we'll click on computer name. See, right now we're part of the work group, so let's change this, put it onto the domain. InfoSec pat.local. And now this is going to be administrator, and then your domain admin password. Once it's welcome to the domain, now it's going to ask to reboot again. Now while that reboots, we can go to the domain controller, go to Active Directory. Let's minimize this. We'll go to Active Directory, users and computers. On our primary DC, go to computers. We should see that machine right here. Boom. Okay. So now it's a part of our domain, and we can actually move this to our servers group, but I'm not going to touch that. We'll get more into the OUs and structures later, but that's that. Then now I meant to say, we'll minimize that. We'll go back to the primary domain controller, and we'll do Control Delete. So you see here, we can do other user, and you see InfoSec pat down here. Now we can just go to InfoSec pat /administrator, administrator. Okay, and then log in with my fancy fat finger that. Maybe I can't talk and type at the same time. All right, so once this logs in, we should be golden to move on to the next steps, which is creating and setting up the role for the child domain. And this is where the fun begins. So once this opens up the service manager, and we'll go ahead and go to local server, make sure everything is good, make sure our IPs are still intact. Boom. Okay, perfect. So now let's go to manage, add roles and features. We can minimize this. Oh, I guess not. I guess we can't minimize it. So now we'll just go to next. Go to next. That's fine. We'll go to next. Active Directory. Fine. Next. All defaults. Next. Next. Install. And then when we promote it, that's when we do the fancy child domain configuration and all that good stuff. So we'll give that a second. And let's just do an NS lookup, just to do something really quick. Okay, I'm looking at my router. Perfect. Okay, cool deal. Because remember, if I do, let's exit this. If I do an ipconfig all on my client, the DNS server that it's the primary DNS is the router right now, because it's using DHCP coming from my router. But later we're going to be pointing this machine to get DNS from our child domain. Okay, just wanted to give you that heads up. See, because we do the set command, the user logon is itself, or you can type echo. Let me actually make this a little bigger, maybe because I can barely see it. Imagine you guys. Let's do 28. Right. That's a little better. And let's change the color. I hate this color. I like green. So what was I doing? Oh, echo logon server. And we can see our logon server is our local machine. All right, but this is going to change in a bit. All right, so now we're back on the child domain controller, and we're going to go ahead and promote this server to a domain controller. Fair enough. Let's click it. All right, so now on the deployment configuration, we're going to add a new domain to an existing forest. And then you see here, child domain. We're going to put child domain. We're logged in as the current administrator for the domain. And right here, the new domain, what is it? Do you remember? If you don't remember, I definitely don't remember. No, I'm just kidding. I do remember because I'm looking over here. It's NYC, right? That's the domain I want to use. Okay, perfect. So let's go to next. We'll give that a second. Oh, excuse me. The functionality, domain functional level, I'm going to put 2012 because I think I want to integrate some 2012 servers later. But just in case, the site, we only have the one site, is Florida. That's fine. And I want to go ahead and put my my password in here for the DSRM. Right? Let's hit next. Okay, that's fine. All good in the hood. This should be NYC. The NetBIOS domain name should be NYC if I did it correctly. Maybe I know a little bit, maybe I don't know. We'll see. NYC, there we go, I guessed right. That's how I got these certifications under my belt. I took wild guesses and they all worked. All right, so next. And once we hit next, we should go to the sysvol, blah, blah, blah. The database, the log file, the sysvol folder. This is just leave as default, hit next. And just hit next. And it should go for the prerequisite check. Hopefully it gives me a green check so I can hit install. And we should be golden. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Hit install. And we'll let that do its fancy thing. And it'll go through its checking forest, upgrade status. It'll do all its shenanigans, right? So once that's installed, let's go ahead and refresh this. Domain controllers, we see our 3 domain controllers, and we'll just give this a minute. This is a waiting game now. So we're gonna wait, and then once this reboots, I want to show you a big difference the way you log in, because I used to have this little issue when I first got into the whole server world, and with child domains and forests and all this stuff. Okay, so that's done. It's gonna restart. The server's gonna reboot. So for an example, and I want to show you when it boots up. So say now we have nyc.infosec.local, right? If you guys took Microsoft exam, they use Contoso, right? Contoso.com. So if you have your hierarchy, you know how like they have the triangle for their setup. So you have infosec pat.local, and then you have a child domain here, nyc.infosecpat.local, and this side we'll have like florida.infosecpat.local, and then you can, so if you have people in Florida and people in New York, and you know they authenticate to its local domain instead of going across the infrastructure, the enterprise. But we're going to see that here. We're going to see it here in a second. Obviously, this is not as big as Contoso. This is little Patty Duty's freaking little network, but all the concepts are the same. It's all the same thing. And so let's, while that's doing that, we're going to change some IP settings on this PC. All right, let's go to we'll go to the ETA the Ethernet 0. We'll go to properties, disable IPv6. Well, I want to assign 192.168.50. What did I say? 190. Oh my God, I didn't even know. 192.168.50.190 and 192.168.50.1. 192.168.50.204, because our primary domain controller for this site, for this computer, because it's in NYC. We're in New York with this site, right? In our fantasy land, and our secondary, we'll make it my router. Okay, so we can get out to the internet. Okay, perfect. Now we'll let that do its thing. While that goes on, we'll come back here. It's still going. So let's just make sure we can ping. We're going to do a continuous ping. 192.168.50.204. Okay, so it's up. Cancel. It's just taking a second. Well, that takes a second. Excuse me. Let me get some tea. My green tea, mate. So I want to bring this slide back over here so you guys can see. This is what I'm reading off. And so slide 13. So once this machine is up and running, and once we log in, what we're going to do is we're going to log into the Windows 10 as this user but first we're going to log into it as a domain admin, and then we'll create the user and all that stuff. But obviously we can't create the user yet because the server's not up yet. All right. And then once that user's, let's open that file again. Once this user's created on the create new user, I want to put user 1, just so I remember, even though it says it right here. I just want to make sure I add new user 1, and then I'll test to make sure all that stuff's working and all that good stuff. All right, so let's just, it's a waiting game. I apologize, guys. Let's see, let's log into this bad boy. This is our secondary DC. Make sure we are all good. Let's open up Active Directory. We can do change domain. Okay, everything's there. Perfect. All right, I just wanted to, and one thing I like to check, just to, let's go to sites and services for a second, and let's see if we can see that server in there yet, because remember when we installed it, we chose the Florida site. Bada bing, here it is. You see that? Because it's in our Florida. So the child domain, NCDS settings, we go to properties here. We can see everything, the connections, boom. Our 2 replicating servers, the objects, this is where the objects are, the security, and attribute editor, which I don't really like to tinker with because I broke domains before, and I don't like to do that. Obviously, this is a global catalog server. So let's see, are we up yet? Jesus, this thing's taking forever. And let's see. So that's that. Let's see if we This is on the primary DC. So now let's go to the secondary DC. We minimize this, open up sites and services. And once we open up sites and services, we'll see if it's there. It should be there. Perfect, it is there, global catalog. The domain, because it's not up and running, it's not fully booted yet. Oh, there we go, finally. So let's go control delete this on this bad boy. Excuse me. And you see InfoSec pat/administrator. So if we go to other user, you see what down here it says NYC. So now we're gonna go NYC /administrator. Okay, and then I want to put my fancy password. And I'm gonna log in, and bada bing, bada boom, we're on this box, okay? Now this is our NYC server, so this is our child domain in our NYC location. And DC1 and DC2 is like in our data center, you know, if you wanna call it that. Just to have a imagination of how this, you know, how these designs are structured. All right, so let's go to local server. I want to make sure all like DNS and everything is okay. Let's just open up here really quick. Just want to double check everything. Of course, this screwed up. So do 192.168.50.201 for the primary, 192.168.202, and then advanced DNS. Edit this 203. Let me make sure that's my servers. 204. We can just do 204. That should be fine. 4. Okay. Oh, okay. I know that. Delete that. Cancel. Edit this. I want to put this one as. I'll do it as my router. It's fine. That should be fine. And then put this one as 204. Okay. Hope you guys are following. So this is my primary domain controller, my secondary domain controller. This is the child domain, and this is my router. Okay. So okay. Remember, because sometimes if you don't check DNS can really cause you a headache in the Active Directory environments. All right. So now let's go ahead and go to Tools, and we'll add. We'll open up our favorites. Active Directory, we'll open up sites and services, we'll open up DNS. All right, so let's just pin all these bad boys to here because this is the way I like to have my structure. All right, so we'll minimize DNS, we'll look at sites and services, Florida site, servers, and we see here now the domain is nyc.infosecpat.local. It is a global catalog, so we're all good there. Now, if we see our domain up here, we can see domain controllers. It's going to only be that one domain controller. Why is that? Think about that for a second. Why don't we see the primary and secondary domain controller in here? Think about that for a second and try to answer it. You know, I'll give you about 2-3 seconds. All right, and the reason being that those two domain controllers aren't in here because they're separate domains. Technically, this is a child domain. This is not infosecpat.local. This is nyc.infosecpat.local. So that's a totally separate quote unquote network in a sense, right? So even if you see like there's the other OUs, the OU structure that's here, let's go back to the primary DC. You see Florida? Florida's not in here because this is not Florida. Who cares about Florida right now, right? This is New York. So we'll go ahead and we'll do new organizational unit. We'll do New York. Okay. And then New York we'll make some quick OUs, new. And we'll users. And then we'll just make the users for now, but you get the point. We'll do a new user, right? New user, and we'll do user 1. I believe that's the one I set up on my user 1. See that? I just want to make sure I'm correct. And then the logon is going to be user1. Okay. And let's go back for a second. You see here, the logon, we have two. If we want to log into InfoSec path.local, we're going to go in here. See how we have two drop downs. Make sure you choose NYC, or if you in LA or whatever subdomain or child domain that you want. Okay. So I'm gonna choose my NYC, and I want to put my fancy password. I want to choose not user cannot make the change and password does not expire. It's fine. Now we have user1 in our domain. All right. And the last test, we're almost done with this video. So the last thing to do is go on to our Windows 10. We'll log off. Actually, we have to join this to the domain. Did it? Not log off. Let's go here. You see how we're still in the work group? Go to change. Change here. Domain. It's going to be nyc.infosec pat.local. And now this is going to be administrator. We're going to do nyc /. Let's just do administrator. Oh my god, let's type administrator, and then our password. And now welcome to the NYC domain. We'll go ahead and reboot. Now we'll go back to our NYC domain. If we go into computers, we refresh this, we see our first computer joined to this domain. We'll go back to our primary DC just to verify. We refresh this, it's not there. See how it's like it's dead. This one is it's not there. So refresh this. Nope, nothing. See, because it's separate. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now we'll log in as user1. Log in here. See, it's admin. That's a local. See here, NYC. We'll use user1. And it's the big test. Can we log into our computer and authenticate? Looks like we're golden. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. So once this boots up, we'll excuse me, we'll do some verification in the command prompt to make sure we're on the correct logon server and all that stuff. So if we let's go back to here, we go open up DNS, we should see that record for 190, I think I put, right? I think I did. We'll find out right now. 190, here we go, bada bing. This is our record for our Windows 10 machine. Excuse me, man, my chest hurts. No, I don't have the coronavirus. It's knock on wood thing. But so yeah, let's go back to Windows 10. Now we're logged in. Let's go ahead and open up a command prompt. And let's make this bigger. Let's change the color to 02 because I like the green. And let's go to fonts, 28. Now we're nice and big. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll do who am I? That's a good one. So we're logged into NYC, user1, and we can do set. And this command, we'll see down here, the user domain is nyc.infosecpath.local. The user domain is NYC. And another one you can do, I did it before, echo logon server %, and we're logged into this domain. You can do an ns lookup, and we can see our domain here. Default server, it's probably, let's just check DNS on here. Oh, we don't have permissions. We'll get into permissions, but because she's not a domain admin, let's log in as an administrator. I wasn't even really expecting that, obviously, because Okay, cool. So everything is good here. We're pointing to the right domain. Okay, cool. So yeah, so that's pretty much how you set up a child domain, and that's it. So if you guys liked it, please subscribe, like the video, share. You know, this is a whole playlist, so play from the top if you want to learn about the whole infrastructure of Windows Server 2019. Until next time, next one we're going to be doing, I believe, will be installing a core server. So stay tuned. Thank you guys.